I'm Henry Ndandalika, as usual. On this particular day, we are talking to a unique guest who will introduce himself, please.
Thank you. Afternoon. This is Br Emmanuel. They call me Pastor Praise or Apostle Praise Emmanuel. I'm a leader of Embassy of Shields Ministries, and I'm so glad to be at the same panel with the doctor himself here. So let's see what we have here.
All right, perfect. Speaking of experiencing life, it's a little bit tricky to find a way in which one can get in touch with the universe and connect to things around them. The connections between people have been growing thin, from families to societies, and this happens in different walks of life. Everyone wants their child to be number one in class. Everyone wants them to have the best meal, better than the rest. Everyone wants, it's sort of a very competitive society. And even when we have the so-called connection, it is usually fabricated in relationships, fabricated under a pretext that is very self-centered, and you want your spouse to be this to you, you expect this, you need this. So let's double back with that overview, and then we ask you now the question: how do you connect to, if you're connecting to trees and the universe, that's easy, yes. It's receptive. But the greatest connections, especially when you think of love and relationships, is the connection you make with another human being. Now, how do you connect?
All right. I think it is also obviously you cannot give what you don't have. So the experience that I've grown into, of course, I've had a lot of, every person has a lot of experiences, right? You have, emotional experiences, you have financial experiences, physical experiences, I should say that. Yeah. So you see that now you have people who have a relationship with you connected through physical, and you have people who are connected to you emotionally. Yeah. So you have people who are connected to you based on maybe what they just share. I don't know. There are a lot of systems and lines that in which we transact our being, experience, existence.
Transaction.
And that's the word I want to use.
I understand.
Sometimes you may not even find the right words to express the...
No, I've always thought life is a transaction.
And I think it is sometimes.
Explain how you look at it.
Okay. You see, if people are lacking something, we are able to provide. That's a transaction.
But answer our question. The idea is that you are trying to, this is an individual out there, and there's a lot of them like this, who are trying to go from point A to point B.
Exactly.
In life. And in that process, they are trying to figure themselves out. They're trying to reach out to the world. Someone to help, someone to give, someone to take. And we need both. We need givers and we need takers. So there's this general notion where people say, no, you must give. The hand that gives is better than the one that taketh. But how do you become a giver if no one is taking?
I've also come to look at how I breathe in and how I breathe out. So you find that the trees are benefiting from me with or without going to school. A tree benefits.
Yes.
Yeah, with or without going to school, I benefit from the sun.
So there must be someone who takes. So in my construct, there has to be both a giver and a taker. Now, you go out there and you transact. You transact your pitiful state where you are breaking and crashing, and people see that. These days, first thing is, this environment is making me uncomfortable. It's toxic.
Okay.
Then you divert yourself to start playing TikTok videos and to distract yourself from that energy that is communicating to you, that you need to respond to. it's what we've started doing. So how do you get from where you have that energy and you spring into action of involving yourself in someone else's life as opposed to running? Because when you look for, let's go to one. Are you married?
Of course.
Okay. When you're looking for a wife to marry, who do you look for? What do you look for?
I think the thing is, I don't know where now should I answer this question from, but
you can answer it from your personal perspective, or you can answer it from what you would generally say a person does. Now, I would like us to conversate in the context of, don't talk too much about you specifically, because you start to have limitations.
Yes.
But I want you to say, and in an ideal world, now a child is born, and then they are 25.
Yes.
And they start thinking of getting married.
Yes.
What do they look for? What does an average person look for?
Okay, maybe let me start from here, where you see we have what I call 5 schools, pillars of 5. And these pillars of 5, they are the ones that have established our governance.
Explain them.
Every human being right now.
Okay.
Number 1 is your mother's house and your father's house, where you are born, and your father becomes your first teacher and your mother, and they teach you. Whatsoever they teach you there is not taught from the schools outside there. You understand? The second school is now when you open your door, when you're grown up on the 7 years, you now begin to see the society outside there. That's another second school. And that second school, it leads you to go to the third school, where your mother now introduces you, or your father introduces you to a system of that governance that is governing that civilization. And then there is another 4th school, and this is 4th school is after you finish that system of training, you're now taught of how to do transactions based on what you have been taught. And that's why you find that if you have been taught in something, will be exchanged now. You call me to paint your house, you give me money. So that's another 4th school. The 5th school is now the church, where they teach you now spiritual. So this one governs the whole 4. So the governing of the whole 4, you find that's where the Bible also says that there are apostles, 5 pillars of the church. The apostles, these are the fathers. There's a teacher. I mean, there's a prophet, there's a pastor, there's an evangelist, and there's a teacher. So these are also 5 fingers of God. Now, this is a hand above, the hand beneath. So there is a complement here. Okay. So the hand above is opening windows for the people on the earth who are governed by the R, A, E, O, U.
Understood.
You understand that? And the A, B, C, D. So, but this one does not go with the A, B, C, D. This one is actually experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then in the construct of picking a marriage partner, how do you get these schools and connect them to your decisions and choices? We are going try and answer it in a context which applies to many decisions. Because this is one of many decisions that an individual has to make in life.
Okay.
And eventually they will have to build up to it.
All right.
So they are basing it on what they have to decide what they need to do.
Okay, so I think marriage, I think it has to be viewed from the picture of what you have discovered yourself to be.
Okay, but then there's supposed to be a path of discovery.
Yes. Number 1 is that if you will understand in all this 4th school, a man, I'm going to center on a man. A man has to understand these 5
schools.
Yeah, these 5 pillars of establishing his manship. I don't know if there's another word, manship or whatever it is.
We understand.
Yeah, but you understand, right? So if you come to understand that, you grow into these 5, then you'll be able to have a picture of who can be compatible and who is that person who is a complete helper and a part of your side. And that's how I see marriage to be. It's a kind of because ladies are kind of a spirit that only interprets what a man is.
So they complement and help.
Yes.
Now, if in that context of complementing and helping, the man must find the woman in our general context, yes? In which case, he is still going to make the primary decision of which woman he's going to be with. In which case, it will be based on whether he has fully understood self, and if he has properly interpreted and integrated himself into these 5 schools or pillars. Now, in many cases, there is a situation where you're in a broken home, you're in a society that doesn't appreciate you, and some of these processes of these 5 pillars are interrupted, incomplete, or you are being subjected to learning them from someone who never understood them in the first place. So then you get yourself to a situation where you still have to make the choicy decision, bound by society and rules and age and everything. And now you have to make a choice. And then you have to decide, which brings us to why relationships and marriages and most of the choices that young people have made lately tend to be disappointments, failures, and leading into depression.
Of course, true.
So how then can one navigate their current broken state into making the choices? Because you are talking of a perfect individual who completely has the ability and has managed to understand the 5 pillars. Now, some people are struggling to understand these 5 pillars, and age is not on their side. They are 35. So what do they do then?
You see, if we come to the place of where God is calling us, we're going to understand the real reason why God wants us to be at the place where we are self-sufficient. You understand? Yeah. And therefore, we become self-sufficient to the point of you'll be able to feel it within yourself. There will be a signal playing within you that there's a person stressed somewhere there, and you'll be magnetized. You are magnetized towards those energies. Use the discovered truth of answering answers. It's either you are an answer or you are. So
you're a question?
You're a question. That's the thing I wanted to say. You know, now English disappoints me sometimes.
Okay, let's go with it. It's doing fine so far.
Because my experience is having a touch with things around me. So I work it out every time to be exactly what I have to be and to experience what I have to experience in that particular time, season, the atmosphere, the color, and everything that is there benefits from what I am.
So can we pick it up from there in a few seconds? The 100 silent voices. The concept is supposed to be that there are a lot of people out there who are inside a different person or inside suffering with concepts of life or perspective of life and trying to find a way to navigate their existence. And most of the times we discuss with people who have different views, different perspectives, how they have either managed to find their way or how they have wondered about things. So we can start from there. Given your background and what you're doing, what's your aim?
I think it's about experience. Experience is what drives me to be what I am today.
Deficiency disorder,
attention
insanity.
Insanity.
We speak for the 100 voices.
And embrace everyone as one.